Folks, hello and welcome to Tavern Chat. Uh, I'm Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR, and just beyond my view, just behind my screen, I can see the horizon, and there's a hell of a streaky storm cloud with blue beneath the gray, and it's not like a sky blue; it's like an ozone blue. Yeah, the sky's been rumbling for the last 5 minutes. It's like a hungry tummy. In any case, I digress. We have another departure from WotC. I'm not just talking about their like senior multimedia YouTuber guy. I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about Jess Lanzillo. Now, who's Jess Lanzillo? Well, she's the vice president at WotC of D&D. She got the position um, mid to late 2023. So she was already at WotC for I don't know 6 7 years at the time. I think she's got 8 years of the company. Prior time it carries over. Her prior time was working on the Magic the Gathering line. So now another veteran member of the Dungeons and Dragons brand team is leaving. Well, she's beyond the brand team. She is the vice president. Vice President Jess Lanzillo announced her departure from Wizards of the Coast. This marks the third senior member of the D&D team to leave in as many months. Following the recent departures of creative director Chris Perkins and game director Jeremy Crawford. By the way, just so you know, they're interviewing for those positions right now, or the equivalent positions. I believe the titles have been changed, but the responsibilities are all. Because if you bring somebody into the same position somebody else had, the expectation is that you're going to pay something similar, but you change the titles, allegedly. But it really seems like they are changing anybody of authority on the ship called Dungeons and Dragons. So Perkins, creative director, gone. Oh, and that critical role. Jeremy Crawford, game director, gone. Again, critical role, Darrington Press. Lanzillo has been with Wizards of the Coast for 8 years, working extensively on Magic the Gathering for most of her career before recently transitioning into a new role as VP of Franchise and Product for Dungeons and Dragons. Well, this is one of those things where the more we promote you, the less secure your employment is. Sometimes it's better to be in the trenches, right? Unless they're doing the mass purge. But somebody has to take the hit. What hit is that? Well, the hit is whatever WotC is saying about how great 2024 is. If you repeat something enough, it may be believed by some. The reality is they had to eat the VTT, the second VTT, by the way, that they've eaten. You had the DTT with Foray that got nowhere. Max. And now we have this VTT, Project Sigil, another fiasco. Money, millions of dollars burned. Who's going to take the fall for this? Well, apparently it's Lanzillo. Or Lanzillo. Not sure how she pronounces it. Um, VP of Franchise and Product for Dungeons and Dragons. Yep. Promoted to the point where you just can't win. So, what's the future for D&D? Well, they break it down, and here we're at Dungeons and Dragons fan.com. I'll include a link to this article. There's a number of articles about her departure. This one seemed to be more ripe, more choice. Jess is a former senior executive at WotC, having worked extensively on both Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons. She first joined in 2017, where she helped spearhead the art direction and narrative of a number of Magic the Gathering card sets. In 2021, she was promoted to VP of Creative for Magic before being promoted again to Chief of Staff role under then President Cynthia Williams, who herself left WotC. Funko, right? She's doing the Funko stuff. In late 2023, Lanzillo stepped into the high-profile position as Vice President, Franchise and Product for D&D. During her brief tenure, she oversaw a number of major initiatives, including the revamping of core books, the 50th anniversary of Dungeons and Dragons, and the development of the now defunct Project Sigil (VTT). So now that she probably inherited that, she inherited all of this stuff. So, but when you're an executive, a lot of this is similar to playing the game hot potato or musical chairs. When that music stops, somebody's either burned by the hot potato or somebody doesn't have a chair. And Ms. Lanzillo is stuck without a chair, potentially also holding the hot potato. Why is she leaving? We don't know yet. She was only promoted to her new VP role a little over a year ago. Now she posted on LinkedIn. After 8 years at Wizards of the Coast, I have made a totally reasonable decision to leave a job where I got paid to argue about whether fictional lizard people can have tails. Of course they can. So this is her saying that she's leaving on her own accord. My trajectory at Wizards has been wonderfully unhinged, leading creative during an absolute wild ride with Magic the Gathering, doing business things as chief of staff, and finally getting to be the vice president of the Dungeons and Dragons franchise, which is either the best job title ever invented or proof that late stage capitalism has finally achieved absolute absurdity. Take that, liberal arts naysayers. Wizards turns Sadie, my kitty. Yeah, but you're in the way. I can't read the screen. Thank you. You're good. Wizards turns imaginary words into real communities, which sounds fake, but is actually the most satisfying work in the world. To everyone else who let me champion this mission while constantly asking, can you add more glowies? You are perfect and I love you. I've been ridiculously fortunate for these 8 years. I'm now lucky enough to, yet again, get to choose my own plot twist. The best part about being super specific. Oh, jeez. I'll have to look at my side screen. Uh, the best part about having super specific creative obsessions is that occasionally the universe decides to reward you for them. More soon. Now it could be that she's got a better offer. Now, what's a better offer than being the vice president of the D&D franchise? I don't know. I guess not being the vice president of the D&D franchise. Final thoughts from the article. It doesn't bode well that the D&D team has seen the departure of so many high-profile leaders in such a short period of time, and many are speculating that there's more going on here than simple turnover. If I was a speculating person, and I try not to speculate, I try to speculate with insider information, but this certainly seems to me to be a house plan. In fact, Lanzillo has been quite active in recent months as a spokesperson for D&D, having been interviewed in Adweek and CNBC. So her departure seems particularly abrupt. It also leaves yet another vacancy during a critical period in the development of the D&D game. Interesting times, right? And I'm not trying to curse my audience, but as gamers, I'm sorry, Kitty, but as gamers, we do live in extremely interesting times. I don't know what the future of the D&D IP holds, but if I was a betting man and a speculating one, it's a lot of turnover. Doesn't bode well for 2024. Maybe we're going to get D&D 2026. I don't know. I call it D&D forever because they're not doing any more edition changes. They're changing editions, but then it's not naming them new editions. So, on that note, folks, no live stream Friday night unless something spectacular happens. No live stream Friday night. We got stuff going on my end. It's Rachel's birthday, so we may be doing some family stuff. But Dungeons, Dragons, and Discourse will be Monday night, 8 p.m. Myself, Glenn Hallstrom, Don Samora, Mark Hunt, another Gangbusters special. Hope to see you there. And as always, thank you to the members that support this channel. It's really important to me and my fellow co-hosts. Videos like this go up early for the members. Go to general viewing anywhere from a few hours to 12 or so after the members get access to it. So, again, members, you are truly the faithful, and I do thank you. Be safe, be well, God bless, roll those dice, roll them well. Catch you all on the flip side. Later, and be good.